Sometimes change is the only constant. So stick around and watch how I made a tail, modified a tail, took a day to think about it, and came back to change that tail. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I don't know. Let's go. Piece is getting warm. You see how that cleans up though? Really nice. That's going to let me get it on the roller if I need to change anything on the English wheel, and I can try and plane it out if I have to, just, you know, underneath a hammer and dolly. A lot nicer than trying to, you know, smash out a weld or something like that. So. Alright, so here's where I'm at with this tail section. I've got the top formed out as you saw me do. The sides now, where I had 3 pieces, well, it's actually 4 now. I made that one piece. As you can see behind, it's all been ground away. On the outside, I'm just going to take off these welds and, you know, fill in this section here. So here's how it's going to look when that fits on the side. You'll see how that goes. So I just have to do the seat pan once I have both sides on and the back part. I've welded both sides on the cowl, as you can see. So that's how it's starting to shape up. I've got a tape line in the back just to square it up. I put it on the fab table and measured so I could get more of a straight line, because the next thing I'm going to be doing is filling in this back, rolling under to that scallop. So as you can see, when it sits on the bike now, I trimmed this up a little higher than what I had originally done on the buck. And that's the beauty about this kind of stuff on metal. You can just put it on the bike, have a look, make sure everything looks the way you like, and if it doesn't, make the change. Got a good flow. That height is just the center point of that gas tank as I wanted it. And when the seat's built up, you know, good inch of foam, inch there, and then goes up the tank at the front, we're gonna have a good saddle shape. Well, I think that's where I'm gonna have to end this episode. I'm at a standstill, kind of thinking about it a bit more. I've drawn these marker lines onto the top center, and if you can see it from the side and imagine that gone, it's going to give me the idea of like making more of a rounded back here, so it looks more like a standard cafe tail. And I'm okay with that. It's still got that flat spot that mimics the front. I just think that this square back end, as much as it looks like the current tank here, that's going to change anyway, so I don't want to really stick to that style. Yeah, like I said, I'm just going to end it here, and we'll pick it up next week. Okay, it's a new day and I'm back at it. Had some thinking to do last night about this tail, and you know what? I kept coming back to, I didn't really want it to be that round. Now I know I can, you know, trim this piece out, you know, put a new piece in the end, make it round like a cafe hump, but that really wasn't what I was going for when I did that wireframe. The idea was to mimic that flatness of the tank. It's got a slight curve to it, but certainly not as much as I did here. And it wasn't until I went back and looked at some videos I did about this build that I realized that. In seeing the photos of it, I see this big roundness here, and it's not really what I was after. So I've drawn some new lines on here, and my decision now is, do I want it to be very thin, which I think might be a bit too low, you know, based on what I was talking about, hitting that midpoint of the tank. And then there's a line up above that I had done just to get rid of that centerpiece and flatten it out. So I think I'm actually going to split the difference. I'm going to come across there, and then I'm going to make a new flat top with a slight beveled edge that ties into these sides. Okay, now I just have to cut it across, which I got to figure out how I'm going to do that, probably with a grinder, and I'll make a new flat top. So I've made the change that I needed to make this tail to please myself. I mean, ultimately that's what it comes down to, right? This is a bit of an art form, and if you're not happy with the look, you can make the change. So as you can see, this is what it used to be. That's what we've got now, which to me looks a lot cooler with this shape of the tank. This nice flat top matches this flat top on the tail. Now this has got a bit of an arch to it. I put it in the English wheel and I rolled it, you know, both ways to get a bit of a, you know, a shape to it instead of just a piece of flat aluminum. However, the back has the flat point. I've slightly wrapped it around. I'm gonna fill that in on the next episode and get this thing completely finished. Originally I was gonna stretch this tank longer, but you know what? When I put the seat in the front, it's gonna fill that in anyway, so I'm probably just gonna leave it. It's gonna save me some effort, and then I can start focusing on the underside of the tank. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching, sticking around. Like, subscribe, share, do all those crazy things that make me do better on the algorithm. And I appreciate all of you. Thanks so much. See you next time.